All right, so we today are very pleased to welcome Commissioner Cassellius to present the governor's supplemental budget recommendations. And of course, they were released on Thursday or Friday? Friday. And so fortunately, we have her here to present those recommendations to the committee, and I understand that she will take questions as well. Very good. So, all right. Welcome, Commissioner. Great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for having me. Brenda Cassellius, Commissioner of Education. I'm really happy here to present the governor's budget, and like the governor likes to say when we're at pressers, I'll take the easy questions and leave the hard questions for Dr. Melcher and Mr. Uni here, who are with me. I'll try the hard questions, and then if I can't do it, then I'll turn to the experts here, especially Tom on the technical parts of the levies. So the governor's budget, I think you'll see, is not very different than the past 7 budgets. As you know, the governor put out his 7-point plan. He stayed pretty stable with his priorities throughout his 2 terms around early learning, around more funding for schools, around additions for special education, and around equity funding for American Indian students and such. And so I kind of want to go through some of those investments and in this supplemental budget for you to think about as you prioritize your bill coming up. So just as an overview, we're going to talk about the really important need for safe schools. As you know, this morning, even just this morning, we had another school shooting in the nation, and hopefully that this body and our body in the Senate, we can come together and do something around helping secure our schools and to create safe environments. So you'll see some recommendations there under the Governor's Safe Schools Act. Some of that is policy with our Pupil Fair Dismissal Act, and some of that is actual funding. Our special education funding increase looks at some corrections and some technical modifications that Dr. Melcher will bring you through, as well as some funding to buy down the cross-subsidy pre-kindergarten and other early education programs to support our earliest learners, American Indian education, assessments, long-term facilities maintenance, and referendum local optional revenue clarifications, QComp adjustments, regional library telecommunications aid, and a few other proposals that I'll go through. I'll try to go rather quickly, and if you could give me the time, I will go through these quickly and then take questions at the end if that would work for folks, because some of these you may have questions for Dr. Melcher. I just don't want to go back and forth in the technical nature of it, so I'll try to do a broader, more brief proposal on each of these, and then we'll take questions afterward if that would work for the chair.
Yes, that would work very well. Members, if you do have a question, just can signal us and we'll keep a list.
You should have the handout as well, so hopefully you have that. So the first one is really talking about the Safe Schools Act that the governor proposed, looking at increasing within this committee, and not talking too much about the policy here, just the financial pieces that he's recommending is increasing and equalizing the Safe Schools levy to improve student and safe and secure schools. That would ask for $15.9 million one-time state aid to get out to districts and charters so that they could get started on these projects, and then $18 per pupil, and then in FY20 and thereafter, ongoing funding and double and equalized levy allowance and give aid to teachers, and you can see those amounts down below. We think that there's pretty broad bipartisan support to do something on the levies. This is the approach the governor is proposing. I know in the Senate they have a grant type of program that they're proposing. The only problem with the grant type of program is that what do we do when the money runs out if there's not additional way to get revenue for schools? So I like this proposal better. And then we don't have in here, but we've heard from our intermediates and our co-ops that they also would like to have adjustments to be able to access the Safe Schools levy as well. So we'd like to address intermediates and co-ops as well. Special ed funding, which Dr. Melcher will go through in depth a little later, is about reducing the special ed cross subsidy. As you know, It's has grown from about $600 million in FY14 to about $687 million in FY17, and is projected to increase to $847 million. So this won't get rid of the cross-subsidy, but it will help to reduce the growth in the cross-subsidy. And we're requesting $16.9 million in FY19, $21.4 million in FY20, and $22 million in FY21. And then we have come to the governor's pre-kindergarten proposal. As you know, we have no longer argue about the importance of early learning for our youngest Minnesotans. However, the approach, I think, has been something that we have really heavily debated in this committee and negotiated in our bills. And what we are just asking for is to continue to honor the agreement we made last session for those school districts who are in the additional $25 million a year of either school readiness or VPK of their choosing. That they then would not have to stop offering that to their communities, and that because they've gone through a lot of work to establish these preschool programs, and without that funding being ongoing, many of our school districts, I think it's 70 districts, would have to stop offering the pre-K, VPK, or school readiness. And so we're asking for that. And then part of that is also to increase in out years by 5% beginning in FY20. So that is just kind of on an automatic growth to give increased opportunity for other schools to opt into school readiness plus or VPK, whatever was their choosing. Other early education changes that we would make, one is revenue neutral, which would be to expand our scholarships 0 to 3. As you well know, the earlier we start with scholarships, especially targeted scholarships for low-income children, the better off they are. And so we think it's wise policy, fiscal policy, to start earlier with our kids. So letting 0 to 3-year-olds use scholarships. Currently, 0 to 3-year-olds can for teen moms, but this would expand to everybody. Help Me Grow is $1.5 million per year. This would be mostly to work with creating the data systems in order to do the referral services, and would work out of our children's cabinet. And then we have background checks for Headstart. This is also revenue neutral. The Headstart's programs are license exempt and aren't receiving CCAP funds. And tribal Headstart programs need to be added to the list of programs that can use DHS background studies. So this would be a provision for greater access of CCAP funding and for the licensing so that we can have background checks at Headstart. And then one smaller provision is to align kindergarten hours for those with a disability with all kindergarten students. The next one is American Indian Education Initiatives. As you know, our tribal contract aid was put in place in, I think the last time it was changed prior to this previous equalization was in 1989, almost 30 years ago, to do equalization, and that was capped at about $1,500. And then we did, when all of the reports came about the bug school and the inequities there of that facility, we dug a little deeper and found out that they were actually getting a lot less funding than the average per pupil that every other Minnesota kid got. So this body stepped up and funded them at this average per pupil cost, and that's about $1,820 per pupil. We've done that for 2 sessions now. And if we don't make that ongoing, that's going to be a real cut to those students at our 4 BIE schools. And so that's very important to me and the governor, that we continue our commitment to our American Indian students who are attending tribal contract schools. The Minnesota Indian Education Teacher Training Program changes. This is not any new funding. It's really just to clarify partnerships within the teacher training program. and giving clear direction to the current grantees about the institutions that they can partner with, and clarifies scholarship eligibility and eliminates the loan portion of the program. Moving on to assessments, access and efficiency. We'd like to fully fund taking the GED. One really great statistic is that in 2015, when the GED changed to college and career readiness standards, they saw a huge decline in the numbers of adults and young people who had dropped out of school taking the GED, and to about 10,000 a year. Then we were able to, because we had some additional WIA funding, we were able to give the GED for free, and we saw 18,512 individuals take the GED. And then it dipped again after we ran out of money, back down to 13,660. So it's very clear that the fee is a barrier for some people to take the GED. So as we expand the GED and maybe other college equivalency tests, we'd like to be able to give this, give it to them for free. This would cost just $400,000 per year in this budget. So, and it would cover roughly 5,000 new testers. So I think that's really important to do. Another one is to extend the time for districts to seek reimbursement for the college entrance exam. This is really just a matter of timing of when the test is given throughout the year and when districts get reimbursed. So this is kind of a technical change, but we had to just run it through the fiscal committee. And then we have proposed this a few years in a row to eliminate off-grade test questions to shorten the MCA test. And also the career college and readiness scores. These come from our OLA report. These are recommendations from the OLA, and we're bringing them forward as items that we agree with the OLA that would streamline our testing protocols and shorten the time that students take exams. We think there'd be about a $15,000 cost reduction with that. Then we move into long-term facilities maintenance and referendum local optional revenue changes, which Dr. Melcher will discuss with you. But what it generally does is allow certain cooperating districts to equitably spread the levy for safety projects. Agreements for the secondary education or interdistrict cooperation agreements would be included. It covers revenue generated by indoor air quality, fire safety, or asbestos projects in the long-term facilities maintenance levy. And then with the referendum, local optional revenue clarification, as you know, we came back with Owatonna a few years ago, had to make that very large adjustment and correction, and we've had a few other districts that have had difficulty with the language on the ballots with these, and so this simplifies the referendum revenue and also converts $300 per pupil of referendum revenue to local optional revenue. Then we came into a problem with QComp now that we're at the cap. We've had charter schools that have grown or expanded, as we have our charter replication grants from the U.S. Department of Education, and you'll have them expand, and one of their programs is in QComp and the other isn't, so there's an equity issue, or there's been enrollment changes at a school, and so because this is generated on a per pupil, when a school district grows, then we're hitting the cap, and the only choice we have, there's no additional funding, is to prorate across all QComp and do a reduction, or to lift the cap so that we can make those adjustments for enrollment. Currently, right now, that would cost about $847,000 in FY19. And 1.4 in FY20 and 1.7 million in FY21, because we anticipate that the student enrollment is also going to grow across these districts. It does not lift the cap in such a way that new programs would be allowed to go in, though, because that would be much more expensive. Transfer of regional library telecommunications aid to telecom equity aid. This is really kind of a technical fix to allow us to convert some unspent funding based on efficiencies at $350,000 each biennium. So the librarians just want to be able to use this new aid based on efficiencies that they were able to create because of new technologies, and this would give them the flexibility to do that. Currently, let me just share this. I may get this as a question, so I want to anticipate it. We have about 22 districts and charters that are currently waiting on the QComp wait list. $7 million would be needed in FY19, $8 million in each of the 2 out years to fully fund those 22 districts. I know this has been an interest of yours, Madam Chair, in the past. 12 of the waiting list are outside the 7-county metro area. And then there's just a few other governor proposals that are not in the ed bill that I wanted to bring your attention to that I think really speak to the overall comprehensive nature of the governor's requests and what we've seen in the past. The first is around pensions, and it seems like there's a lot of bipartisan support around the pension commission and the work that they've done around covering some of these pension costs. There would be $10.8 million in FY19, $23.8 million in FY20, and $35 million in FY21, but it's carried not in this, but in the pension bill. I'm not sure how it will end up being carried, but currently it's not in the governor's recommendations, but it is in the pension side of things. Then school-linked mental health. Madam Chair, I've heard you speak strongly about in support of school-linked mental health grants. The governor is also proposing $5 million per year. This would, we serve currently, I think, 1,000 schools with what the effort is we've already been doing with DHS, and about 11,000 students. So I believe this would double that effort. And then just a really small program that was innovative that we piloted several years ago and we continue to support. It's called Homework Starts at Home through our housing department. We all know that stable housing is absolutely necessary for students to be successful in school. And so this is $4 million in FY19 to help provide stable housing for an additional 500 families and about 1,000 students. So those are the recommendations. Of course, that housing bill is carried in the housing bill. So now we'd be open for questions.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to hold my questions until after other members have had an opportunity, but Representative Wills, you had a question?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioner Cassellius, for being here today. I did have a couple questions, and maybe it would be for your experts, but feel free to answer as well. On page 5 or slide 5, special education funding, I was just wondering if you could provide more explanation of what improving the formula calculation looks like and how that would change. And then it mentions here lifting the per pupil cap. I'm just wondering, is that there would be no cap at all, or does it just increase? If I could have some more explanation on those 2 points.
Dr. Melcher.
Dr.
Madam
Melcher?
Chair and Representative Wills, Tom Melcher with the Department of Education. The recommendations would include a couple of changes in the initial special ed aid calculations. I know you reviewed a spreadsheet that Mr. Strom had, and one of the 3 formulas that's used in the initial aid calculations is based on special education child counts and state average costs in each of the areas. And the first recommendation from the governor is to update the data used in the child count portion of the formula to reflect the most recent cost study that we do. Under Minnesota Statute 125A76, we do an annual cost study, and we would like to see that updated. And that would increase somewhat the per pupil rates for the per pupil driven portion of the formula. The governor is also recommending, instead of having the least of 3 different formulas, that we simplify things a little bit by eliminating the calculation based on the old formula that was repealed in 2013. And so the new formula would just be the lesser of the updated per pupil formula or the funding that's a percentage of the total cost, including fringe benefits. So again, there would be some increases for those districts that are held down because of the old formula there. In addition to that, there would be a slight increase in the excess cost formula by reducing the subtraction for the general education aid for districts that do get their funding based on the old formula. And then finally, the cap would be raised by $30. It's not a total elimination of the cap, but it would provide a $30 per pupil increase for those districts that are at the cap. And we do have a run, Madam Chair and members, for fiscal year 19, I believe, in your packets that would show the district by district impact. I'd be happy to walk you through that if you had time, or to answer questions if you had on that.
Thank you, Dr. Melcher. I think we'll continue with questions, and then if we need to go through that and we have time, we will. But I know that we also, once we have legislative language to introduce, we'll probably come back and hear this in detail again. So, Representative Wills?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Dr. Melcher. That was very helpful. And my other question was on slide 10. Maybe it wasn't 10. I apologize, 9. And Commissioner Cassellius, you mentioned removing some of the questions off of the test that maybe aren't applicable. And I was just wondering if you could explain or expand on that, which questions you're looking at removing and rationale behind it.
Commissioner?
Representative Wills, Madam Chair, it's an adaptive test, so the test gets harder for students as they take the questions, and they also get easier as they are able to take it based on their ability. So the off-grade portion was where standards are presented that are a grade or two higher than what the student is supposed to be able to demonstrate. And those questions come after they've taken all of their grade level questions. And then we just have this kind of next piece. In ELA, it's probably another more difficult passage than that they would have to read and answer a set of 8 to 15 questions on that passage, or 2 passages, depending on whether they're going to assess a grade or 2 higher. And we would just eliminate that off grade level portion because it really doesn't relate to the grade level accountability system that we're using. And we've heard complaints from parents and students and teachers about the length of the test.
Representative Wills?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. That was helpful to understand what you're trying to accomplish there, what the governor is proposing. And I'd have to think about that more. I don't know if that would be necessarily the best approach, because for some students that would be really beneficial to be able to see where they may be proficient beyond their grade level. So I think it will be something that we will discuss as we see an actual bill come forward.
Commissioner?
Representative Wills, I was very supportive of off-grade level when we first got it, but we're not seeing teachers use that information as much as we thought we could, and it also is not helping us with our exam and having, for the accountability pieces in terms of the alignment. So it didn't make as big of a difference as I thought it was going to make.
Representative Peterson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question on regards to page 6. It says, and I'm just wondering why the governor recommends to split out for pre-K for Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Commissioner?
Representative Peterson, Madam Chair, there was an imbalance with Minneapolis and St. Paul and the amount of scholarships and, well, not scholarships, but VPK and school readiness dollars that went out to them, and they kind of worked together on the distribution of that, and this is kind of to fix it for Minneapolis and St. Paul so that it's a fairer distribution between the 2 cities.
Representative Peterson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's great. I'm glad that work's been done. And then I believe this is on page 7, and so, I was just, help me understand. I understand that there's like a waiting list for more of this early education stuff, and so why does the governor want to expand that to 0 to 3? I mean, infants, 1 and 2-year-olds?
Commissioner?
Representative Peterson, Madam Chair, and members, the research is just really clear that targeted approaches work really well for younger children. And so, there's a lot of folks within the health community, pediatricians, other researchers who think providing support to children birth to 3 is really advantageous and good for children academically. That waiting until age 4 might be too late.
Representative Peterson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, in doing that work, just because I've served on HHS and early childhood things as well as child care and accessibility and affordability, I think it's just important to make sure that we're working closely with DHS in that work so that we're not duplicating or at least working together so that we don't run into maybe some of the issues that happen in Minneapolis and St. Paul, making sure that resources go to people the way they should. And then, Madam Chair, if I could, can you help explain, how does the kindergarten disability hours change after alignment? Help me understand that. Thank you.
Dr. Melcher?
Madam Chair and Representative Peterson, when the state funded all-day kindergarten, we missed an opportunity to align the way we fund the all-day kindergarten programs for children with a disability and children without a disability. So the way that the law reads right now, if you have an 850-hour all-day kindergarten program for a regular child, you get funding for 1 pupil unit. If you're a child with a disability, you have to have 875 hours. We think it should be the same, just like it is for kindergarten, for first grade through 12th grade. In addition, the way that the older kindergarten statute works for the children with a disability, they don't qualify for extended time programs. Kindergarten students with a disability do qualify for extended time. It would be targeted services programs at that age. And so if they're falling behind, it would seem unfortunate that the children with a disability who might need the extra help the most are the ones who don't get funded for having some extra hours. So it's a relatively small increase, $153,000, that would allow children with a disability that are kindergartners to have the same calculations done to generate revenue as other children.
Representative Erickson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Commissioner and company. I was expecting to see from page 9 the off-grade test in the policy bill. So I was wondering why it didn't show up there like it did last year, and we questioned that. So I have no problem with seeing it here. Can you better explain, though, the career and college readiness scores that you are going to eliminate? Is that the 3 through 8 that is supposed to, okay, got it. I mean, the rest of you may not know, but
Yeah, maybe for the rest
maybe
of
the
us.
commissioner should explain.
Thank you. We're in suspense now. Commissioner.
Representative Erickson, Madam Chair. The college and career readiness scores are scores that we put out on that match to the ACT, and the OLA has recommended that it's a bit too early to start telling third graders whether they're college and career ready based on the ACT. And so we're recommending, the OLA recommended, and we agree with the recommendation that we should not be doing these. And then I'll let Adosh talk to why it's not in the policy bill.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Mr. Rooney.
Madam Chair, members, Adosh Rooney, Department of Education. Always a pleasure to answer your questions. We brought this proposal forth to initially through the policy process, and as we were going forth, we realized under the contract that we currently have, there was work that wouldn't necessarily be done, and the amount was, as the commissioner mentioned, close to $15,000. But under our contract, we're able to reallocate that to other enhancements for testing security, for improved services, and that such. So it's a revenue neutral proposal, but MMB made the determination that it did need to go through the budget process since there were some, even within a contract, some shifting of funds.
Thank you,
Madam
Ms.
Chair,
Rooney.
thank you, Mr. Oni, yeah.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
Appreciate that explanation very much. Representative Mariani.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of things. As I was around that topic, it seems to me that while it sounds perhaps absurd to look at third to eighth grade in terms of college career readiness, if I remember correctly, when we first conceptualized this, ACT was putting out a suite of assessments that were age appropriate. And I think one of the issues is that ACT then backed out of producing that product, which many of us thought would be a helpful early indicator, not just in terms of where a student would quote unquote end up, but serve as additional guides for a student and parents to be able to make planning. Am I wrong about that, or I see you nodding that perhaps that's part of the reason as well, that those instruments simply are not there anymore?
Commissioner.
Representative Mariani, Madam Chair, I do believe you're correct in that they were planning on doing a more robust rollout with kind of this college and career readiness that didn't ever exist. But we really are making this recommendation because it was a recommendation of the OLA. So we're agreeing with some of the findings of the OLA report and moving forward with some of their recommendations.
Representative Mariani.
Well, Madam Chair, far be it for me to challenge the OLA. I have a lot of respect for them. However, I suspect that part of what guided the OLA's recommendation had to do with this issue of quote unquote taking too many tests. It's been my position that the issue, quite frankly, is poorly framed. That the issue, while clearly there's a concern about quote unquote too many tests, the real issue is what is the best type of assessment that we can help arm parents and students with. But that's for another discussion. I do have a quick question on number 11. This has to do with the QComp adjustment that apparently we're now prorating because there's pupil growth happening. And I should have been paying closer attention, but did you say that the growth is all happening within charter schools?
Commissioner.
Representative Mariani, Madam Chair, it's not happening just in charter schools. There is growth in all schools. But charter, I use that as an example.
Okay, all right.
Where you may have a replication of a high-quality charter school, for instance, and they're opening up another school building. Or you could have within a district some rapid enrollment growth happening.
And then,
Representative Mariani.
And then, Madam Chair, and this, you don't have to answer this, but just an observation that I think that there is a strong interest across the state of school districts participating in the quote-unquote QComp
Yeah.
program. There's a lot of good reasons for that. I would argue the primary reason is because it's serving as a wonderful peer
Yeah.
centered way in which to enhance teacher effectiveness. And so kind of the begging question is, why not have a recommendation for us to fund the $7 million so that we can get those 12 greater Minnesota school district and those 10 Twin Cities school districts into the program? And you could choose not to answer, but,
No, I
it's,
mean, Representative Mariani, Madam Chair, I think Dr.
Commissioner.
Melcher wanted to share a technical piece, and then I will answer your
okay,
question.
thank you.
Dr. Melcher.
Madam Chair and Representative Mariani, I just wanted to point out that in the last enrollment forecast, we did see enrollment growth not only in charter schools, but in school districts as well. And for fiscal year 19 in the current budget forecast, we're prorating at 98.8% and at 98.3% in fiscal 20 and at 97.8% in fiscal year 21. And the way that the QComp law is written, what that does is it shifts funding from state aid to property taxes. The school districts still qualify for the $260 per enrolled student, but they get less in the way of state aid and more in the way of property taxes. So the change would just make the formula whole. It would be the amount that was anticipated in terms of the aid and levy share. And we do have a few school districts that don't choose to make the levy. They go into QComp, they just get the state aid. So for them, it would be a small revenue increase because the proration would go up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Representative
Commissioner.
Mariani, Madam Chair, I have been in front of this committee for many sessions talking about Q-Comp equity, especially within our rural schools who were late to the Q-Comp game, and
Right.
unfortunately, they're not able to get into Q-Comp, but now they see the value in terms of, school turnaround and our accountability systems and being able to access that funding for professional development for their teachers or curriculum review or standards implementation. And they don't have the funding for it because there's no more funding to get into QComp. As you recall, Senator Stump was a real advocate for equity across all districts being able to have this aid. So I hope in the future, maybe in next year's funding year, we'll be able to address QComp.
And Madam Chair,
Zimmerman.
since I sort of dissed the OLA, which I'm probably going to get in trouble for because we shouldn't do that. I would say that, all OLA reports in the past have pointed to and really signaled for us a new way to be thinking about QCOP beyond, its original thought. And so there's some good information for members, if you look back over the OLA reports in terms of multiple ways in which that program has been embraced and thought helpful in terms of enhancing teacher effectiveness as well. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Other questions for the commissioner? A lot of mine were covered with other member questions, so I'll look through. Is there anyone else that has a question right now? And I'm going to look quickly at my notes because there were a couple things. Oh, I know, on the long-term facilities maintenance program and then the conversion of the $300 per pupil referendum revenue to local optional revenue. Could you go over that for me once again, or Dr. Melcher, just so I'm clear about that?
Madam Chair and members, on the long-term facility maintenance program, the governor's recommendation is to allow school districts that are in a pairing agreement to split the levy for large projects between the two districts that are involved in a pairing agreement. So these occur, I think there are about 10 districts in the state that are involved in these. It's typically one very small district that's closed their high school and they send all the kids to the other school. So the situation that could come up, we haven't had it come up yet, is that the larger school, let's say, has a big asbestos project. And they're going to be billing the small school that sends all of their high school kids there for part of that cost. So what this would allow is for the school districts to split the levy for that purpose on some fair basis that they determine locally, so that they each have the dollars to fund their share of that cost. We currently do this for the Career Tech program for school districts that are in a pairing arrangement where one district is sending all their high school kids to the other one, and the other one offers the program. We let them split the levy so that the levy burden isn't all on the one district.
Okay.
The other one, dealing with the referendum and local optional revenue, is an issue that's gone back since the 2013 session. You'll recall that came up late in the tax conference committee, and we've had a fair amount of confusion about the referendum calculations ever since. You'll recall in 2015 we had Owatonna come in for special legislation because they were confused about the subtraction that comes off of referendum for local optional, and they ended up shorting themselves. I think it was roughly $1 million. We've had a few other situations like that. Most recently, we heard about the Foley School District this year, where they didn't short themselves on any revenue, but they unintentionally asked for $424 per pupil of local optional revenue, which then got subtracted from their Tier 1 referendum. And so the bottom line is they got the revenue they were expecting, but they ended up levying $60,000 more in taxes and getting $60,000 less in state aids just because of confusion about how the two fit together. So we are recommending a change that would take the $300 per pupil of the referendum revenue that is available to districts by board approval rather than by referendum. We think it's kind of misplaced by calling that referendum when there's no referendum required to get the money, and just say we'll have a $724 per pupil local optional revenue. We would move the equalization, that first-tier equalization, to local optional, so there would be no change in aid and levy. And then rather than having the districts each year tell us how much local optional they want, and then have us subtract it off of the referendum. So the referendum's going up and down depending on what they decide. We would just say the referendum allowance is reduced by the $424 of local optional, which almost every district in the state currently takes. And we would avoid a lot of unnecessary paperwork and have a little more straightforward system that reduces the potential for situations like Foley and Owatonna from happening in the past. And it would not have any fiscal impact on any district. It would just make it a lot easier for districts to operate.
I think whatever you could do, if we could make that much clearer in the statute, it would be much appreciated by school districts and those of us on the Education, Finance, and Tax Committee. all. So, anyway, good suggestion. Other questions? All right, I'm not seeing any. So with that, thank you very much, Commissioner, Dr. Melcher and Mr. Uni. Appreciate you being here. And again, we may have you back again when there's legislative language or to go through specifics at a later time. Thank you so much.